Yeah. Good morning. I'm Lisa Natoli. Welcome to our Friday morning Course in Miracles group. It is so good to see everybody here today. And our teacher today is Kelly Russell in the house. And she is going to be teaching There Is Nothing in the World That I Want. And that's such a good lesson. And so I'm just doing announcements and a little introduction. We have two new people in the house. Andy, welcome. I know you go to the Sunday morning group, but your first time here. And Sam, who just completed the 40-day program for transformation yesterday. So she just dropped in from out of nowhere. So I'm going to bring up Sam in a little bit to talk about the 40-day program, because that really is a program that I created without a plan to activate people to really have a direct experience of their own true self. Because I, as a teacher and as a student, feel that you have to have a direct experience if you're going to dedicate your life to something. You have to. Why are you going to listen to someone else talk about their experience? You want to have your own experience. And so I love this Friday morning group because it really is a place where we inspire and encourage people not just to sit and listen, not to talk about the ideas, but to actually practice and apply them. Because until you do that, it's just concepts. It's just all in the head space. And so welcome live streamers, and I'm so grateful that Bill Free, who's in Texas right now, and baby, you may be watching, I love you. Is he online? Don't know, can't tell. And he is in Texas. He's been, drove from Los Angeles to Texas, and he'll be home this weekend. So just grateful that he had the idea to set the live stream up, that this can be broadcast around the world. And announcements, there is no Marianne Williamson down at Vicki Thomas's place this afternoon. We did our best to get the message out there, but I just found out that Nancy couldn't go anyways because she has a root canal at 3. Way funner. But Marianne had to cancel because she had an interview on the Bill Maher show, I guess, today. So that's been canceled. They're organizing another event at a different time, so we'll let you know about that. And for anyone who wants to find out more programs about the Teachers of God Foundation, you can go to teachersofgod.org, and there's just tons of online programs, the free 40-day program, the transformation room. And I'd love to call you up, Sam, to talk about, I don't even know anything about her. I haven't had a conversation with her. She just dropped in. I said hello real quick. And she said, oh my God, I finished the 40-day yesterday. So can you come up? I just would love to hear how it was for you.
So I always was spiritual from like a young age. And I was like, I never really had an awakening, right? And then a year ago, I bought A Course in Miracles, and it kind of sat on my shelf, and I always felt compelled to read it, but I never actually did. And so I went on this group, the 40-day program with my friend Kyle, who's actually watching right now. So, hey, Kyle. And it's like I never understood what surrendering was until I actually fully immersed myself in surrenderment and just said, okay, it's not just a theory. I'm going to practice it now. And so I did. And I can't even tell you how much tears I've just like cried of gratitude from it, and just like how amazing it feels to wake up every day. And I already felt good. I had my meditation practice, but I was always focusing on manifesting one certain thing rather than just manifesting like happiness and like everything that came along with that. And it was like I was almost limiting myself by focusing on an object rather than focusing on the feeling and letting God flow through me and letting whatever is meant to happen through God's will. And so I'm just in the place of complete surrendering of that, and I'm absolutely enjoying it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. I love that, because that's really what my intention was, is that it would be about direct experience. And I also love that you talked about manifesting happiness. Like, I forgot about that part of it. And I know Kelly's that's for your talk today, because it really is the uncompromising teaching of A Course in Miracles that we kind of use the Course at first, or spiritual practices, to manifest a better life, a happier dream. And I know everybody, myself included, will come to the place. If you are the best manifester in the world, I was a great manifester. So I manifested this awesome job in New York City. I manifested money. I manifested great relationships. I manifested all sorts of great things. And I still felt like this isn't it. Like, still feeling like I have to hold on to it and work hard, or it's just going to disappear again. So you constantly never have an experience of the rest and surrender that Sam talked about, and the joy that comes from really living as the presence that you are, and then having a direct experience that everything you need and want and desire comes to you without you even asking. Because now you're just about the business of allowing the love that you are to flow, and there's no blocks that are blocking it anymore. So everything you need to fulfill this function in time and space are just given to you. So thank you so much, Sam, for that. And so it's totally free program. It's start whenever you like. There's a group that starts in October, and that's a group launch. And you can go to teachersofgod.org under courses, and you can find how to sign up for that. So we're going to take a moment for meet and greet, and we just raise ourselves up and raise everybody up. I love you. It's funny that you remind me of Leah. I was talking of your son's face in your I'm working on it. You're working on it. I'm working on it. Love you. Okay. Okay, good morning. Welcome back. Yeah, nice to see you. Okay, welcome back. So the next part of this morning that we do is we have something called the reading from Cafe Gratitude, and I'm so happy that Arthur Gay is going to come up here and do our reading from today. So Arthur was initially set to, one moment. Okay, so we were, I know, funny. Arthur was supposed to teach today, and Arthur got some guidance that he is now going to be focused entirely on not mixing different teachings with the non-duality teachings, which he has been just inspired by over the last couple of years. And you've been so much in my mind, Arthur, and I am so happy to see you here this morning. And so he reached out and said, I'm not going to teach Course in Miracles today. And he posted it on Facebook, and I just love that you did that. And then Kelly Russell stepped in, so she'll be teaching today. But I asked you to come up here and do the reading because who knows what will happen. But I wanted to just, I know, but I love that. But what I wanted to just say about this is the teaching of A Course in Miracles, his demonstration. Like, we're here to listen so intently within to the guidance that is coming to us. And A Course in Miracles is one path. All paths lead to the same place. They lead within. That's it. They lead you to know the total non-dual nature of who you really are. That's it. And Bill also is a great lover of the non-dual path. Rupert Spira. There's so many teachers that teach it that way. And so it gives me great pleasure to bring Arthur up to do the Cafe Gratitude this morning.
Thank you for that. Hi, everyone. Don't let me scare you. The Cafe Gratitude, it's for, August 2nd. It is the spiritual always that determines the material. I would change the word spiritual to timeless awareness and the material to all experience.
So say it the way you would say it.
Excuse me?
Say it the way you would say it.
So it is timeless awareness that determines and expresses all experience. And then the bottom says, who do you think creates your experience of life? I'm going to touch on this for a moment. Like I said, don't let me scare you. Life cannot be experienced because experience is an object. It's objectified. Life is our wholeness. Life is when we live from the stillness. Experience comes from that stillness. Life is just beingness. In our function of experience, it's just presence. It's right now. This is all there is. The only thing that can change this perfection is a thought of tomorrow or this morning. So life is just lived. Live your life. Presence. Nothingness. That's all I got.
So good. Thank you. That's all he's got, he said. Ha, that was everything. Arthur, these yours?
Nope, those
Oh. Okay, so I'm so happy to have Kelly Russell in the house. She is a licensed psychotherapist. She is a transformational coach, and she is a brilliant teacher of A Course in Miracles. She has a website called Rock Your Joy, and that is really what Kelly's message is through her total demonstration. And today she is going to teach the lesson, There is Nothing in This World That I Want. Welcome, Kelly Russell.
Thank you. My little microphone fell off. Can you help me clip it onto the pocket? Thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Hi, everybody. I stand in the presence. Namaste. Thank you. Welcome, live streamers. Hi, Bill. So my talk today is based on lesson 128. The world I see holds nothing that I want, except my teaching has a little bit of a twist. So there's a colon after that, and then it says, except money and sex and fun and yummy food and travel and dancing, etc. So sometimes when we read the Course, I'm going to back up and say all the time when we read A Course in Miracles, we are meant to read it with our spirit, right? But it was written by Jesus, and he knows that we are having an ego experience, right? The fact that we wake up in the morning, open peepers, think we're in a body, in a bed, in a house, in a world, means that we're having an egoic experience. And so our ego mind, that split part of our mind, is going to be reading the Course in Miracles right along with us, right? It's like the little reading over our shoulder. And not just reading over our shoulder and, like taking it in and being like, that's a good point. Okay, I'll really think about that. No, it's reading over our shoulder with like a little like earphone here that's like constantly chattering like the translation. Like it's a foreign language and the ego is going to translate it into what it wants us to believe the Course in Miracles is actually saying to us. Right? Because the Course in Miracles is written completely from a place of love, and it is for us to realize that that's all we are is love. That's all we're made of, and that's what we are returning to, right? So that's death to the ego. That's a huge threat. The ego doesn't understand love, doesn't really know what it is, doesn't know what oneness is. All it knows is it's bad. That would be bad for me. If you get all into whatever this is that you're reading and you're practicing and you're feeling better and you're choosing love and you're shifting your perception and you're not in fear, I can't control you. And that would suck for me. So I am going to make damn sure that I do the best I can to have you interpreting the Course in Miracles the way that I want you to interpret the Course in Miracles. So when we come to lesson 128, this was my experience. I can only teach from my own experience. So my experience years ago when I first read the Course in Miracles and came to lesson 128, the world I see holds nothing that I want. And I'm going to read it. Well, let me read it, and then it'll maybe be a little bit easier to talk about how my ego translated it. Okay, so the world I see has nothing that I want. The world you see has nothing that you need to offer you. Nothing you can use in any way, nor anything at all that serves to give you joy. Believe this thought and you are saved from years of misery, from countless disappointments, and from hopes that turn to bitter ashes of despair. No one but must accept this thought as true if he would leave this world behind and soar beyond its petty scope and little ways. Each thing you value here is but a chain that binds you to the world, and it will serve no end but this. For everything must serve the purpose you have given it until you see a different purpose there. That's going to be a key point that we're going to come back to. The only purpose worthy of your mind this world contains is that you pass it by without delaying to perceive some hope where there is none. Be you deceived no more. The world you see has nothing that you want. Escape today the chains you place upon your mind when you perceive salvation here. For what you value, you make a part of you as you perceive yourself. All things you seek to make your value greater in your sight limit you further, hide your worth from you, and add another bar across the door that leads to true awareness of yourself. Let nothing that relates to body thoughts delay your progress to salvation, nor permit temptation to believe the world has anything you want to hold you back. Nothing is here to cherish. Nothing here is worth one instant of delay and pain, one moment of uncertainty and doubt. The worthless offers nothing. Certainty of worth cannot be found in worthlessness. Today we practice letting go all thought of values we have given the world. We leave it free of purpose we gave its aspects and its phases and its dreams. We hold it purposeless within our minds and loosen it from all we wish it were. Thus do we lift the chains that bar the door to freedom from the world and go beyond all little values and diminished aims. Peace and be still a little while and see how far you rise above the world when you release your mind from chains and let it seek the level where it finds itself at home. It will be grateful to be free a while. It knows where it belongs, but free its wings and it will fly in sureness and in joy to join its holy purpose. Let it rest in its creator, there to be restored to sanity, to freedom, and to love. It is awesome. It is awesome. And yet the reaction that I had when I first read that with my ego doing its translation, and I've heard this from many people that I've worked with about this lesson, is that means I can't have any fun. It means I can't do anything in the world, or if I'm doing something in the world, I can't enjoy it. I have to just think about the fact that the world is an illusion, that the world isn't real, the world holds nothing that I want, and so since there's nothing that I want here, I can't do anything here. I can't enjoy food. I can't have fun with traveling. I can't want to have money. I can't want to enjoy sex. I can't want to travel and have experiences, because the ego mind, that's not true. But the ego mind is going to use that logic, the ego's illogical form of logic, to try and distract me, because its hope is the next thing I'm going to do after I go through all that, what I can't do because of what this lesson is telling me, that I'll just be like, screw this, and I'll just put the book down and never pick it up again. And then the ego will be like, yes, good. That's exactly what I was looking for, right? And that's not really the case. So I loved what the Cafe Gratitude lesson, it's so interesting. When you just let spirit direct everything, it's so interesting how perfect it is. And so, of course, spirit told me what I was going to talk about today, and then chose this Cafe Gratitude message to go along with it. It's the spiritual always that determines the material. And whom do you think creates your experience of life? So what the Course in Miracles is saying in my mind in this lesson, the world I see holds nothing that I want. So part of this is in that first phrase, the world I see. So what makes the world I see? Right? Because I might see a different world than you see. We can be sitting in the same place, having the same experience, meaning the same people are around, or we're watching the same musical or movie or game, and yet my experience might be very different than yours. So the world I see holds nothing that I want. But what makes up the world I see, right? So our thoughts, it's what Lisa was saying before. Like, there's no accidents here, that like what you talk about in advance, and then what you come up and talk about, and then what we read in Cafe Gratitude, and then what Arthur's his own making meaning of it, it all goes together, right? Because it's truth. So if I'm making these other things in the world, if I'm making the world itself, if I'm making my relationships or my work in the world, or money or possessions, or my body, the state of my body, or what I want to do, like what I've decided I want to do, or any of those things that we talked about before, any of those things I mentioned before, if I'm making any of those things my God, right? I'm investing in them. I'm saying, I need to have these things in order to be happy. If that's how I am looking at them, then that is the meaning I'm making in the world. And I am creating suffering, for one thing. Because if I'm making anything of this world, if I'm putting anything of this world in the place of, I need this in order to be happy, if I need this in order to rock my joy, then I've already created suffering before I've even like gotten out of bed in the morning. But so the ego wants us to believe that, well, then you just have to be deprived of all those things. You know, so it's telling us, in order for you to be a good Course in Miracles student, and in order for you to be what the Course says is enlightened, then you have to give up all those things. And just, I don't even know how the ego mind finishes that sentence. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't say, think about God. But I think it just stops with, you have to give up those things. Well, the Course in Miracles teaches us that this world is a dream, right? It's a dream. And we know that. I mean, we know that on one level, and then we appear to wake up in the morning in a body, in a world, in the dream. So if we're waking up in the world, in the dream, we got to do something, right? I mean, you get out of bed, you go get your coffee, you go have breakfast, you say good morning to people, you figure out what you're going to do today. It's not like we just wake up in the morning and then go into the lotus position and like ascend to a cloud and then do nothing during the day. Yeah, we might wake up in the morning and assume the lotus position and meditate and start our day with spirit. But that's my point, is that is what he's asking us to do, is not make the world our God, not make the world have a meaning and a place in our minds and in our lives that it doesn't have and that it doesn't deserve. It doesn't mean that you don't do whatever you do in the dream. It means it's a dream, and then you proceed from there. So the first thing in the morning, getting up and doing it however you do it. And maybe it's not the first thing in the morning. I do it first thing in the morning. I'm not saying that that's what you have to do, but even if you're not doing a spiritual practice in the morning, as soon as you are able to, remind yourself that you are the light of the world. Remind yourself that you are God, you are holiness, you are expressing love, and asking what's supposed to happen today. Like last week, I've just been really focusing on living this way, and I'm writing a blog that'll come out in a week or two, and so I'm going to touch a little bit more about what's been going on with me, specifically with regard to moving. And I wrote about that a few months ago, and it's lovely, but it's all been staying in this place of guidance, and just this place, as Lisa talked about, this place of not making anything else my God, not making anything else, not knowing what I'm supposed to be doing, not not having that foregone conclusion about how things are supposed to go and what is going to make me happy. You know, the Course in Miracles talks about that we're like children, right? We don't know what the hell's going to make us happy. We think we do, but we don't. And if you look back, I don't know about you, but when I look back on my life and I think about some of the stuff that I did and wanted desperately, thinking it was going to make me happy, and I think, oh my God, what a dodged bullet that I didn't get it. You know, like, just, it would have been terrible. It would have been like, here's a little fun kit for you, baby, that has matches and scissors and poison and dynamite. Yeah, have a blast. Pardon the pun, right? And so knowing that we're coming from a place where we don't know, but we're always being guided by one who does. And so when he says this world, the world I see holds nothing that I want, it's the world I see that I am making my God. Like the world I see where I have to have a certain amount of money or I can't be happy, that I have to have a relationship look the way that I need it to, or I can't be happy, that my people in my life have to behave a certain way, the way that I want them to, or I can't be happy. That I have to have this, I have to experience that. So it's putting those things first and saying these things all have to happen, and then I'll be happy. And then I'll make God important. After all these things, after I get all these things figured out first, after I get all the important stuff taken care of, and I get my life all in order the way that I need it to go, then I'll make God important, and then, you know, and then I'll continue on, you know, but I need this all to happen first. And it's completely backwards. It's like Lisa was talking about, you know, I felt like getting up here and just being like, what you said, what he said, I'm done, because that was my talk. So it just illustrates that all minds are joined, right? So as we, and the ego wants to say, oh no, you can't let go of that control. You can't let go of those reins. No, the world you see has everything you want. The world you see, if you can just find the right person to be partners with, if you can just get the right job, or if you can just make your business, just do the right thing in marketing to make your business like work and explode. And if you can just eat the right things so your body will look the way you want it to, or you find the right diet, or you do take the right medication or the right therapeutic process, or you go to these different places and see the world, you know, if you do all that, it's this egoic, like this fantasy of, and it's so seductive. And we're like, really? If I do that, I'll have that? Like, really? Oh, that's all I have to do? It's crazy, but we do fall for it. I don't know. I fall for it. And, you know, it's like the ego is like one gigantic, long infomercial where it's just going on and on and on, hitting all the hot buttons that we all have, you know, that suck us in, all our pain points and all of that, promising that if we just if we strive for that, when we get it, then we'll be happy. So it keeps us in this constant, like, running after the different thing, in every different thing in the world. And the emails come in and, like, you know, are you feeling like this? Are you feeling like that? Do you want this? Do you want this? All you have to do is, you know, do whatever, sign up for this or take that. And I'm not dogging any programs, because I actually think a lot of those things can be very helpful. And certainly all of the Teachers of God programs, pretty much all of which I've taken, and I love them all. But the Teachers of God programs and some of these programs that are out there are not saying, if you buy this from me, you're going to be happy. It's I'm showing you how to have a connection with spirit. your own connection. Lisa called it a direct experience. Your own connection with your inner teacher, your divine guide, who is then understands that you live in the world. That you believe that you live in the world, understands that this is where you think you are, and so is going to provide what you need, is going to provide what you want. It is going to provide, as long as it's going to provide whatever is aligned with your highest good and the highest good of all concerned, which our egoic mind is not about that. Our egoic mind is about, no, I want what I want, and I want that right now, and I kind of, like, no offense, but like don't care if it like affects anybody else, differently, right? And so that's why things, when you're aligned with spirit, that's why things don't always work out the way that you wanted them to. Because spirit can see all the way till the end of time, because this movie's over, we're just reviewing it, right? All the way to the end of time, and how every little ripple is going to affect you, and that's going to affect you, and how that's going to affect you. We can't see that. All we can see is, this is what I want right here. It's like tunnel vision. So being able to just surrender the day to spirit and saying, I don't know what's supposed to happen today. I think I'm supposed to go to work. I think I'm supposed to, I'm starting my day with my meditation. I think I'm supposed to teach A Course in Miracles. Over the past week, I think I'm supposed to move. Now, yesterday was a really great example. I was in my place, my new place. I was unpacking. Oh my God. And I gave away so much stuff before I moved. I can't believe there's still all this shit to unpack, but there is. And I was like, my back hurts and I just want to take a break. And I said to myself, I kind of just wish that I was working today and that this could all just get done, because I like working so much better than I like doing this. Bring goes my phone. And now if I'm working, I'm not answering that. I'm in the middle of my work, right? So I'm not answering that. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to have a drink of water and I'm going to just chill. I'm just going to answer this phone. It's probably a robocall, whatever. It'll take 18 seconds. And then I'll get back at this again. And it was hella hot yesterday too. Turns out to be this lovely woman who had seen one of these teaching videos, who lives way in another state, who's having this experience of someone she knows has recently, that she was close to recently committed suicide. And she was just wondering if I did she saw my website from the teaching and wondered if I did spiritual counseling and if there was any way that she could make an appointment with me. And I sort of checked in with spirit. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be unpacking this 1,000 million freaking boxes here, and I'm not working yesterday. I'm not working. I don't work on Fridays, and I'm completely booked next week. So do I tell her that? Do I say, well, I'm sorry? And I was like, what are you doing right now? And she said, really? She was like, I didn't even think I was going to get you on the phone. I said, well, you probably wouldn't have, except I'm moving, but I would be much happier taking a break and talking to you. And I actually think that's what Spirit is telling me I'm supposed to be doing. So, here's what here's what my fee is and whatever. She said, let's do it. And so we just right then just did an hour-long spiritual counseling call. And it was healing for me. It was healing for her. Spirit healed us both. It was a holy relationship for an hour. And after that, I just was rocking the whole unpacking thing. It was like it put me in a different space. And that's what I'm talking about, right? So if I had just stuck to like my own plan, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I said I'd do today. This is what, I have to get this all done and I got to do it all myself. And this was like Spirit kind of diving in and being like, first of all, no, you don't have to do it all yourself. So then after that, after I got off the phone, I was like, okay, what should I do next? What should I unpack next? What's going to be important for me to do next? And I just started following that guidance. So it wasn't the world I see. It was the world Spirit is having me see, right? The Spirit wants our lives to be easy. He wants us to not struggle. But in order for, and what he knows makes us struggle is when we think we have to figure it out ourselves, and we think we have the better idea, right? And that creates the world I see. The world I see, in my mind, means the meaning that I am making out of everything that appears to happen. And that is what is creating my reality in the world. And that's what the quantum physicists talk about. That is what, in psychology, when you talk about how you're experiencing something, it's always has to do with your thoughts about it. It always comes down to the thoughts. Perception, it's our perception. Perception makes projection, the Course in Miracles tells us. So when I say the world I see holds nothing, that has nothing that I want, yeah, because the world I see is being created with the ego mind, but there's a different way of seeing. And that is what Jesus is teaching us in A Course in Miracles. It's the world I would have you see holds everything that you want, right? But you have to let go of your grip, your death grip, literally your death grip on this world, and let me make it happen for you. Like, let me guide you. Like, I'm not going to get into the journey of my new abode right now because I'm writing the blog about it. I wrote a blog about it a few months ago, and I promised I would write another blog after it happened. So I don't want to get into that today, although I'm going to write that blog about it. But I will say that not just that experience, but everything that has been seemingly happening to me since I just said, I'm just giving this all to you. I'm just going to live by you directing me. And what I notice, I was just saying this to a coaching client this morning, what I notice is, like an airplane. So when I veer off course and I am not letting spirit direct me, I notice I don't feel good. Things aren't working out. Things are kind of falling apart. And I could be all like, well, it's Mercury retrograde, No, it isn't. It's because I'm not paying attention to asking and to say, okay, wait, I'm sorry. What am I supposed to be doing again? And, do it this way. I mean, right down to like unpack that box next, because I'm like running, I think I'm doing so well when I label boxes, and I had help packing by super organized people, way more organized people than I am. But you can't put everything on the outside of the box that's in it, right? So if I'm just going on my own, and this is such a metaphor for life, if I'm just going on my own and I have thousands of boxes and I'm looking for one thing, right? I'm looking for the one thing that I need to be able to get myself ready or to go to bed or whatever it is. If I just start ripping open boxes like, where is it? Where is it? I just need it, right? That's coming from a place of fear. That's how the ego would love to help me unpack. Just slash and burn, like just open box after box after box and throw stuff everywhere. And if I just go, okay, what I need is my shower gel. Where is my shower gel? And I go, okay, that one says bath and kitchen. Not really sure how that happened, but okay. And I just opened it. Thank you. There's the shower gel. And I mean, that's what I am talking about. That is how it's working. As long as I turn it over, if I'm asking a question, the answer floats across my experience somehow, whether it comes into my mind as some kind of an inspiration or whether it shows up in a box that I open or I drive past it and there's a sign right there or the book falls open to that place or whatever it is. So it's the world, that is now becoming my vision. So it's not the world I see that I'm creating from my own making. it actually allows me, when I invite Holy Spirit to be part of these things with me. Like one of the things that I do in the morning now is I say during my prayer and meditation time is I say a couple of things I've sort of tweaked. One is I say, I come and thank you for joining me in my heart and mind with yours. And I just feel like it's this like Vulcan mind meld, you know, and then it's like our minds and hearts are joined. And so now I'm just being guided as to here's what to do next. And here's, you know, where to go and all of that. So a week ago, I went to the beach, and this is just a demonstration for me of like how doing something in this world, you can absolutely experience joy. So I went to Venice Beach, which is one of my favorite beaches in Rye. One of the reasons it's my favorite is because the waves are big. I got my little, not surfboard, but like the bodyboard thing. I always call it a boogie board. I don't know if that's right, or if the boogie board is the thing you stand on, and I don't know. But anyways, the board that you hold. And I was with my friend Linda, whom you guys know, and we just went into the water like children, and we're in there for like an hour. And when I do things where I'm going fast, like skiing or riding the waves or anything like that, I tend to scream while I'm doing it, like, ah, wee, or whatever, over and over and over and over again. I was in such joy. Now I'm in the world, I'm in an ocean, I'm in the water, I'm under the, you know, sun. I mean, yeah, it looks like I'm in the world, but I was not. I was following guidance. And it was because this world, that's not where I was in. That isn't where I was. You know, I was asked in the morning, what beach do you want to go to? And I like checked in, and I could just see myself doing that. And I'm like, I want to go to Venice Beach. But I don't believe that it was me just from my own self saying that. It was Spirit knowing that I was going to use my body as a communication device. And I was just going to rock my joy in the water, like for hours, and have ridiculous fun. And it's the same thing with money. So I've taught enough in here to where you guys know that I sometimes have money scarcity issues and fear around money and blah, 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 whatever. And Spirit has helped me heal a lot of that in the last year or so, and particularly in the last several months. And geez, what a coincidence that since I have been letting go more and just being like trusting and like, you take the wheel and you know better than I do, and I don't know what's supposed to happen here, and who's supposed to call me, and who's supposed to hire me, and who this and whatever. It's just happening. And part of the reason why it's happening is letting go of my old living space and all of the stuff that was there. There was an incredible amount of stuff, like crap that I just let go of, repurposed, threw away, recycled, gave away, not really threw away unless it was trash, but you know. And it was like, I was holding on to all that stuff. I lived there for 11 years and I was holding on to all that stuff. And that was part of the world I see, right? And by the end, and especially yesterday when I was still unpacking, like it was almost like the boxes were multiplying. Like while I was unpacking them, like I would take a bunch of empty boxes outside and then I'd come back in and it was like they grew. And they're not really, they are actually decreasing, but I was like, you know what? I don't even need all this stuff. So I got a couple other boxes and I just started putting more stuff into the box. I don't need that. I don't want that. You know what? I'm going to do that Marie Kondo thing where if it doesn't spark joy, I don't want it. And so I just started shoveling other things into other boxes to be given away. And so the process continues. But my point is, so asking, well, you were the first person, when I found out I had to move, you were the first person who said, get a box and start putting stuff in it that you don't want, start packing stuff you do want, give away, that was your advice. It was great advice. And so thank you for that. So the things we want, so being able to just say, whatever I'm supposed to be doing for money, Spirit gets it. That in this world, in this dream where we think we are, money is a thing. Okay, Spirit gets it. It's not like Spirit is saying, no, you need to think about God all the time and starve to death because you have no money, and be naked and freezing and no shelter and no fun and no anything, because that's what the ego would have us think that the Course in Miracles means by this lesson. Absolutely. And so, but what it does mean is, but let me direct you. Let me help you do this in the way that is going to be the best for you. And the same thing with sex. Like, it doesn't mean we give up just the desire to have sex. If we don't desire to have sex, fine, whatever. We don't have to. It doesn't mean anything. But if we want to, it's not like, oh, you're not being spiritual. You're not being a Course in Miracles student because you want to have sex. And, well, there you go. Now you just failed a Course in Miracles, and, that's the end of it for you. You might as well throw it in the garbage, okay? Because that's the ego's tenet. But rather, inviting the Holy Spirit into that union. If you're a person that has a sex life, inviting Holy Spirit in to be part of it. Like, join me with this person. Like, the holy threesome. Like, seriously, like allow it to be, because it may turn out to be something that you never expected, as opposed to meeting a bodily need. The same thing with eating. So Lisa wrote a book called The Yum Factor. I don't know if it's available yet or whatever, but anyway, and you wrote a post the other day, or maybe it was yesterday, that talked about if it doesn't have the yum factor, then like, I don't want to eat it. And you showed something that you made. And again, to me, that is like allowing Spirit to help me see the world I want. Like, guide me in, while I'm in this dream, I gotta eat. But I don't have to eat stuff that isn't yummy. I don't have to be like, well, the Course in Miracles says this world holds something that I want, so I can't want to eat good food. I'm just going to have to eat, bread and water and whatever. It's like, no. It means that it means food is not the most important thing in your life, but it means you're nourishing yourself consciously, right? Like, you identify with the fact that we're not a body. I'm not a body. I'm free. I'm still as God created me. I'm not identifying with the body. I understand it's a dream, but in the dream, I want to eat yummy food. I want to nourish myself in a way that makes me feel really good. It makes me go, yummy. That's so good. God. Right? Like, if we can have those kinds of experiences of, that's so good, that's so yummy, like, that's going to govern. If we hold, help me be in joy all the time, help me express your love in the world all the time, in everything that I do, in every relationship, in every endeavor, eating, having sex, making money, working, being with friends, coming to a Teachers of God meeting, taking a class, doing whatever. Like, help me do it with love, and help me do it with joy, and help me do it from my light, just blasting my light as brightly as I can all over the world. Like that appointment that I had yesterday, and if you're watching, hi, was wonderful for me. That was a healing for me too. It raised my vibration from, I'm very grateful to be in this new place that I am, and Lisa's neighbor in Elliott, Maine. But at the same time, I was making meaning out of unpacking. I was making the meaning out of unpacking that the world I see right now, unpacking all my crap, sucks. That was the meaning I was making out of it. And instead, I just got my vibration raised into this awesome place where I joined with one of my brothers, and it was, and Spirit was just there with us, reminding me of who I am and reminding me to ask what is going to make me happy next. And the rest of my, the unpacking that I did, the part that I did yesterday just went that much more smoothly. So it's about the world I see as my ego holds nothing that I want. The world I see with Christ vision holds everything that I want. And it starts with knowing that this world that I am appearing to live in is illusory. Like, we get that as Course in Miracles students, but sometimes I think, I'm just using myself as an example, it is really easy to think, well, I have to do this and I have to do that, and I can't do this and I can't do that because Course in Miracles students only do this and they don't do that. And we can get very rigid about what it means. And yes, there is a whole thing about what the Course means and says and what it doesn't mean and it doesn't say. And it isn't just up to our sort of interpretation. It's up to our listening to Spirit's interpretation as to what it's really saying, and to how does that show up in my particular dream or your particular dream. And so forgiveness, the F word, that's my jam. Forgiveness is the bridge to be able to get there, right? Like, if you find yourself making the world your idol, you find yourself making something in the world your idol, and you're making it your idol, and you're creating the world you see, and you're suffering, if you're not in joy, if you're not in peace and you're not in joy, then you are creating the world you see and you're suffering. And it really does hold nothing that you want. But the way to get out of that, the first thing, the way to get out of that is to forgive yourself for believing the dream. Oh, I must have chosen wrongly because I'm not at peace. So I'm going to forgive this. I'm going to be like, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm not in joy and I'm not in peace right now, and it's not fun and I don't want to do this. So can you please guide me? And for me, sometimes that is running around my house trying to find the right box, 1 out of 1,000, to find the one thing that's in that box that I need right now. But what I notice is actually doing that, those things show up a lot more easily now. Sometimes I'll just be like, Jesus, I really need to find a shirt to wear to teach A Course in Miracles today that isn't wrinkled. That happened to me this morning because when I move, if it's a blazer.
Talking at it the whole time. It's so cute.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's the one that wasn't, it's sort of wrinkled, but I had a different one on, and I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, it was like so wrinkled, because I move things in trash bags. I just do. It's easier, and they can fit more of them into the storage unit and all this stuff. And so and then I couldn't find my iron. I was on a coaching call and I'm talking to the person, and then I'm like, okay, I get off the call and I'm like, I have just enough time to iron one of my whatever things that's all completely wrinkled. Can't find the iron anywhere. And I don't want to do the what box is the iron in, because I was a little too close on time. So I just said, can you please find me a shirt that's not wrinkled? And I went to like the mountain of shirts that I have right now that I'm going through, and I was like, there it is. And, so, I know that sounds like such a trivial thing, but it's not. It's the way that my vision that I'm seeing through Spirit is directing my life for me and making my path, my crooked, straightening out my crooked path and removing the obstacles and making my way smooth and taking the stones out of the way. That is the world that I want to see. That's not the world I see when I create with my ego mind and I'm just moving the boulders right into my own path, right? And creating like the speed bump, like in my own driveway, and making it so that I was like sabotaging myself, right? So this way of living and this way of being in the world, but not of it. Like, I know that I'm on my way home. I know that. I'm following the GPS. I am on my way home. And I know that as I undo these layers, there will be a time, and it might be later today, where I just forget the world and the universe disappears and I'm back home and I'm woken up from the dream and you are all there with me and this world is not anymore for me. While I'm driving there, this is the way to get there, is for spirit to be my co-pilot, or for spirit to actually take the wheel and me just let go of it and be like, okay, and I'm trusting that what you're telling me to do here is going to work out. And sometimes it gets freaky because sometimes I get a bunch of appointments that all cancel in one day. And I'm all like, oh my God. And I'm getting out the calculator app on the phone and how much money I'm losing by like people canceling appointments. And I'm not doing that anymore. It's like, no, you know what? Because when I get myself out of that mindset and I forgive it and I'm like, okay, whatever, I don't, it's going to be whatever it is. It always works out. And I end up doing something really great with the free time, or I end up doing something that I really needed the time for, that I was like, oh my God, I don't have any free time to do the thing that I have to do, and I have to create this thing, and there's no time, and when am I going to do it, and when? And then a bunch of appointments get canceled, so I have time to do it. And then I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe these appointments all canceled, and what am I going to do? And I won't have enough money, and meh. And it's like, Jesus. It's like, if I could just be like, oh, thank you. Thank you for the free time. Thank you for and knowing that money's going to come to me in some other avenue. It's going to come from appointments next week. It's going to come in a gift or a tithe or whatever it is. Or I'm not going to need it. Right? So this is just really like my interpretation of what this lesson, number 128, this world holds nothing that I want, is really saying in terms of practical application in the world. And how can we really live it? And so being able to have a regular spiritual practice, whatever time of a day it is for you, and however you do that, like whether it's going and taking a walk on the beach, or whether it's gardening and being in nature, whether it's sitting in your bed with a cup of coffee and doing your meditation, whether it is, reading A Course in Miracles, practicing the lesson, listening to some course teacher, doing the 40-day program, doing your lesson on there, or one of the other Teachers of God programs, or tuning into somebody on YouTube, or whatever it is, and using that to be your portal to, because one of the other things that I'm doing now is I'm imagining like a column of light just going all the way through the top of my head, through my body, and just up, just spirit. It's not that spirit is up there somewhere, but just connecting to the light of God, the light that connects me to all my brothers, is just this column. And I just see it downloading what I need to know, where I need to go, and keeping me just in this place of love as much as I will allow it. I won't say all the time, but it's not all the time. It's not all the time, not because the flow is getting shut off by spirit, or because he's like, oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to you, I was over here doing something else. It's because I shut it off. I shut it off by my lack of awareness, or by not asking, or by not trusting, or by listening to this voice, this ego voice in my ear that's just like, this is what's going to happen. This, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, and the more that I can just be like, shh, and just staying in that place, that's what allows me to have the vision that creates the world that I actually want to see. So, does anybody have any questions or comments about anything?
Someone online commented.
Okay.
I don't know if you can repeat it.
I can.
Aaron Green said, what you're saying is like
call 911 for information more regularly instead of waiting until I need 911. That was a good.
Call 411 for information.
Yeah.
Call 411 for information regularly instead of, which is Holy Spirit, instead of having to call 911 when shit's going down and you're freaking out. Awesome, Aaron. Thank you for that. That was a really great analogy. Great comment. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
I love everything you said.
Thank
You
you.
are so amazing. And,
Thank you.
you know, the idea of beginning to live in a way of asking for everything, because that's a direct experience. Like something even like, where's my shower gel?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you think you don't know something or you don't know where something is. It's like there's the file in there.
Yeah.
You actually, if you don't know where your keys are, there's a part of you that knows where the keys are.
Yeah.
But you have to get quiet. You have to just sink into that place and go, show me.
Yeah. And
I wanted to say one more thing.
Yeah.
So there was one little part in there that you said on your way home, and maybe it will happen this afternoon. Well, today's your lucky day.
Yeah.
What time is it?
It looks like 20 of 12.
Okay, it's going to happen today.
Good.
Today's your day. You're home.
Yay. Thank you.
And that's an important thing because it's like we think we're going somewhere.
No, we're
and
already
everything you expressed today was a total expression of home as a state of mind, as the joy that you live in and that you are. And that we fall into these places where we still think I'm waking up or I'm going somewhere. Yeah. So
You're
thank
right.
you so much.
You. Thank you. Love you so much. Thank you. Anybody else? Maggie, grab that. Thank you. Yes. Hi, Maggie.
To at the beginning, I had a friend that was visiting me yesterday, and I was sitting on the couch, which is Kathy. And when you were saying at the beginning, it's like I find sometimes I question, am I supposed to be here? Only because my life is quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's like hot. I don't like heat.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have 2 or 3 days I'm home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not out. I haven't been on Facebook. I'm not on email. I'm not doing.
Mm-hmm.
I put so much of that down the last 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
you.
just, and she's saying to me, so what's going on with your life? And I'm thinking, well, it's boring. And it's like, well, I don't know if it's boring. It's just basically I'm not jumping here or jumping there or going there because I don't need to anymore.
Right. Are you bored? Are you bored?
No, I'm not bored.
No, then it's not boring.
But, she's asking, well, what are you doing? And I'm saying, I've had 3 days in. It's been hot.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that when you were saying it, I said, oh, I'm in exactly the same place.
Yeah.
I don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I love what you're saying, Maggie. Thank you so much. The the perception that we have to be doing something or that we have to be going somewhere or engaged in something or, and there's that FOMO thing, fear of missing out, right? And being able to just say, I'm good. I'm good with staying in. I'm communing with spirit and myself and being in my place and you're home. I mean, after what you just said, like you're home. No place else you'd rather be. There's no place like home. Yes. Peter?
Well, I feel like I've been caught recently with the experience of pain, both physical and emotional pain.
Mm-hmm.
And this thinking that goes along with it of, in order to be happy, I have to get out of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I found what he had to say about it helpful.
Mm. Good.
How it goes in that line.
Yeah. Well, pain, and it doesn't feel like it, and I'm not dishonoring your experience, but pain is a choice the mind makes, a meaning that it makes of experience. And in this world where we believe we are, things happen, and one of the things that causes us pain, many of the things, not just one of the things, but many of the things that cause us pain, particularly emotional pain, are replications of our belief that we separated from God that those, I personally think those are the things that cause us the deepest pain in this world. And so, and you know, if we can remind ourselves that we're not separate, and that that's just a belief that my mind is making of this. And again, practicing the forgiveness of it. I'm forgiving myself for believing that I'm separate from anyone and separate from God. And that if I'm asking Spirit, like what can I do to help myself? What can I do to be helped here? And then just getting quiet and listening. But yeah. Anybody else? Okay, we have a couple minutes, so I want to just do a little meditation with you guys. So just going to ask you to get comfortable in your chair and maybe take things off your lap, put your feet on the floor, feel yourself grounded, and breathe. Take a centering breath, breathing in love, breathing out peace, and breathing in peace, and breathing out love. And in your mind, I want you to call forth an experience that you have had sometime in your life, it doesn't matter when, an experience where you were in absolute joy, where it felt perfect to you, where you were at peace and it was all green lights, whether it was a moment in relationship, whether it was a moment with yourself, whether it was at a particular place or it was home. And immerse yourself in that experience right now. Go back to that experience and step into it and allow yourself to feel what you were feeling on that day. Let it fill your whole body with light, with joy, with peace, with love. Allow yourself to taste it, to drink it in, to breathe it, to bathe in it. Allow it to course through your veins and shine out your eyes and fire from your fingertips. And feel the essence. That is the essence of who you are when you're joined with God. That is the experience of seeing the world through Christ vision. And that is the world you see. That is the world you want. And you can call that forth to yourself anytime. Go back to this experience and re-immerse yourself in it, remembering that this you carry with you all the time. And it is the truth of who you are. And so you can gently bring yourself back to the present moment, from the world where you think we are to the world where and the world where we really are to the world where we think we are, but carrying that with you and allowing that feeling and that light and that love to inform the rest of your experience, the rest of your day today, the rest of your week, and in all of your interactions, making all of your relationships and all of your encounters holy, and rock your joy. So thank you very much, everybody. So if we could form a circle, and want to just remind everybody that we have a love box in the bookstore, the purple box. It like literally says love on it, and that when you put your love in that box in the form of money, it allows us to bring our message from Teachers of God Foundation to these meetings, having this space, to live stream them, to offer the programs that we offer that touch our brothers all over the world. And we're so grateful for your generous gifts. So thank you so much. We're going to say the prayer of tithes and offerings. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And as we carry forth with us today that love, that experience of light and joy and perfection that we called forth to our minds, we remember that that is actually the truth of us in every moment, that that can be accessed at any moment, and that as we undo these layers of belief in the world, and as we remember that this world I see holds nothing that I want, and as we allow ourselves to have our vision corrected, to have the obstacles removed from our path, to have our way made clear and straight for us and smooth. And as we allow that, as we surrender to Spirit and ask for the guidance and trust that all will be far better than we could ever imagine or certainly make it ourselves, we are grateful and we say thank you, Spirit. Amen. Yay, thank you.